This is our house, which we are renovating to make our home. My name is Orion, this is Jess and Benji, and Lilia is now 3 months old. Since birth, we have ripped this house apart, rewired it, did some plumbing, and moved in the space of approximately a month. So if you're interested in learning how to do things around the house, DIY, renovation, all the above, then make sure you hit subscribe to follow along every single Wednesday and Sunday to see us turn this house into a home. In today's video, I am going to be solving an irritation of mine, and that is mess. Mess, 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 and lots of mess. Now, this is nobody's fault. Maybe it's my fault because I haven't really built things to store everything that we own, especially like Jess's clothes that are just everywhere, Lilia's clothes, which should go in her room, which I'm currently occupying with my desk. So, I know in the last video, I built some shelves. Well, today, I'm going to build more shelves. Or rather, I'm going to build a bookcase here. Now, as you've seen, I've been building desks and shelves and all these kind of things all over the house. And I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, am I really saving much money by building these things? So today, I'm going to be putting myself to the test because I had a look on Ikea to find a bookcase that would fit this space. And this is what I found. And today's goal is to replicate it out of plywood or MDF, probably plywood because it's better like structurally, and see if I can do it cheaper. The problem I have, however, is I am running out of materials. I do have lots of scrap stuff lying around, but nothing big enough for what I need. And as, the time is against me, I can't really wait for it to be delivered. So, by using the roof bars I have on my car and a few ratchet straps, I'm going to attempt to bring some home from B&Q or Wickes or wherever sells it the cheapest. I've never done this before, but I've been assured by ChatGPT that it all should be fine. So, without further ado, let's get some plywood. And after looking online, Wickes is the cheaper place. Also, just noticed in the car park of Wickes that this bush is here. Now, this bush is what we thought we had in our garden. And I know this is not the gardening series, but if you've been watching that, I thought this flowering bush was actually what was in our garden, the invasive, really spiky stuff. And now that I look at it, it is quite pretty. However, this isn't that sharp, spiky stuff. It's similar, but there's like no, barbed wire coming off this one. It's just flowering quite nicely. So I guess that's not what we had. Anyways, let's attempt to get some plywood on the car. I'm going to be building the structure out of 18 mil and then the shelves out of 12 mil, which comes up to £70. Now, if I built it out of MDF, it would actually cost me a slightly cheaper. It'd be about £55, but it's not as structurally sound and I don't intend on painting this. I'm also considering getting some downlights fitted into the shelving for Jess's desk as well. So she's got lighting built into her desk. These aren't too bad, £4.50. Then for the shelves, I might actually use LED strips like these as well. But these are like 25 quid. I think you can get them cheaper on Amazon, so I'll save off on that for now. What I have bought, however, is some shelf supports because I want to do this one a little bit differently. And this is a little bit more discreet than using big battens. Anyway, time to get that on there.
You watching Daddy? What's he doing? What's he doing?
Okay, I have them on the roof. I've got the thinner one underneath, the thicker one on top, and it is well and truly strapped up. The one that goes down the middle, I actually looped around my roof bars on both straps. That way there's a bit of friction holding it back and forth. And then these ones, I actually have it wrapped around the bars on the side. Hopefully we get this home safe. I'm going to be driving slowly and going down country roads and stuff like that, but I don't want the wind to take it. I'm fairly confident it's very secure, and if this works, then it's going to save me so much effort in the future, because normally I would hire a Hertz fan to do this, but if I could take it on the roof bars, it's a win-win. Mission successful. There was a little bit of vibration, but all in all, that worked a treat. I now have the wood to build my bookcase or shelving out of, which is great. So I've got the materials, and I now know for the future that if I need to get more sheet material, I can do it on the roof bars. Obviously, if I have my tent box on there, that's a different story. Which reminds me, by the way, I completely forgot about this, but when we received the tent box at the flat, I ratchet strapped the box to the roof bars and then I built it at my nan's. So I've done this before, but I was just a bit worried about it blowing off and stuff. But all's good in the hood. It's safe and sound. Back at home, let's get this inside. Or better still, onto the workbench, because I have got my plans ready for what I'm going to build. This is the base that I'm going to sit it on. I'm going to basically make some stud work framing on the floor to clear my skirting boards. And then I've got my two side panels, a base and a top. And then these are wall supports that I'm going to be putting halfway up and a little bit closer to the top to tie it to the wall. So I'm not going to be pinning this whole thing to the wall. It'll be removable eventually, and all of my measurements there. I am obviously missing the measurements for the shelves, but I'll do that after the fact when I've got the unit all built together. For now, let's turn this into that.
Step on site, soiree, all night, all day. It's a party, hey. Okay, okay, soiree, all night, all day. It's a party, hey. Okay, okay. I'm ready to go. Start up the show. And go with the flow. If you know that you know.
Well, I can't say I was expecting this when I was finished. There's some cows loose. One of them fancies being a goat and is climbing up the hill, but yeah, some cows have got loose into the field, and hopefully help is on the way. I think they've cracked the code on the locks on their gates and they've got out of the barn, so hopefully someone can herd them in soon, because they are leaping around, jumping and stuff. They look very happy to be out. That being said, on second thoughts, they are getting ever so slightly closer to the road, so I might actually go and usher them back towards the barns. Can't say I've ever done this before, but I'm hoping my presence is enough to slowly push them back towards the barns. That, or they might just come over for a bit of a pet. I'm not really sure. Come on. This way, cows. Come on. I've got Jess wrapping around as well. We're going to work like sheepdogs. Well, it turns out it's actually working quite well. Ah, yes, I can see where they got out. I've managed to herd most of them towards the gate. I'm going to see if I can get them to go back in if I slowly walk towards them, because they definitely don't like my presence. The problem is I don't want to open the gate to let them all in and let even more out. Right, well, I'm definitely not moving that gate. The cow's force has opened it and I definitely can't get it back. Oh my God, I'm a pro. I've got them back to where they need to be. Job well done. Back to work. Where I have actually ended up prepping everything. I've got the shelves where I want them to be. I've actually cut all the shelves out. I've got the base, the back, all of it is done. Now you may be wondering, normally on a cabinet or, you know, bookcase or whatever, there is a back panel, but I'm not going to have one for this build, purely because I refuse to make a back panel until I actually have a router, because I want to be able to route a channel where the backboard can sit. Now there are two variations. You can get a back panel that you just nail on the back, which I could go and do and just get some cheap MDF or something like that, some really thin MDF, and just cut it down to size, nail it to the back. But as it's just sitting against the wall, I don't really see a point in it. If it was freestanding where you might go behind it, then there'll be a reason for a back panel, but because it's going flush to the wall, I don't see the point. It's just a waste of material. So got to minus that off of my expenditure, but I have managed to get all of it done in one sheet. Now I did buy a 12mm sheet to do my shelves, specifically that one right there. However, I had a couple of offcuts from doing previous projects, so I didn't actually need it in the end. So I'll account for the cost of that anyway, because obviously I've used the wood. But thankfully I had some offcuts, and you know, I've got some scrap lying around still. I've actually got quite a big chunk of this plyboard left over if I want to do anything else with it. But all that is left to do now is to actually just put it together. I am really hoping my planning and my thought process for this has worked. Fingers crossed. First things first is this base box. It's literally just going to sit on the floor in the corner right there. I have contemplated screwing this into the wall, but because the whole thing's going to be held up with the battens I've made, I don't really see a point. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Next up is the baseboard, and yeah, no surprise, the room is not square. Kind of expected that before I planned everything. All right, next thing I need to do is screw in to the baseboard using the pocket holes that I did earlier. So we grab some of these screws. Hopefully this works exactly as intended. And then we can square it up to the wall after the fact. Ta-da! Right, now that we've got that done, we can square this back up to the wall without it falling over. I might need to tape it into place, to be honest, just to make sure it doesn't. This is my only concern with doing this. Actually, you know what? Because it's not going to be screwed to the base, I'm going to let it lean a little bit whilst I do this. Because the next thing I need to do is put my wall battens on like this. And I need to mark on the wall where I'm going to drill them. With that in mind, I think the best thing to do is to just screw this into one side first, mark it on the wall, move the whole thing out of the way, drill the holes, and then carry on. Completely forgot to film that being screwed into there, but I've now got the marks on the wall, so I'm just going to drill the holes in. Okay, this is where my measurement should come into play. I need to put the final side on, and it should all tie in nicely, he says. I realise I don't have the greatest angle in the world to do this, but I'm working in a confined space, so it is what it is. So this should slot on to the end, like so. And I just need to square it up at the bottom. Make sure it's nice and flush, and then get some screws in it. This is what I mean by like hard angle to film in. I can't draw my left hand. Sorry, I'm trying to get a better angle, but it doesn't work, my left hand. Okay, right, now, before I screw these into this, I want to make sure it's screwed into the wall to make sure it's level. So, with my level on there, and change of drill bit, all we do is pop the screws in here. The reason I'm using a level is because the top one was wildly out, so I don't even think you can see that with this camera angle. 1 second. Yeah, I don't have a tripod that works here, but this is out of level. I need to push it up about there. Last but not least, we need to put a lid on it. You know what? It might seem like a really small thing what I've done. I'm actually well impressed with this. I feel like I've essentially made a wardrobe. If I made a door and got some hinges and stuff like that, I would have made a wardrobe, but time to see if the shelves work. I have tried my best to make these square using my circular saw. However, I'm not 100% positive, and as I don't have a table saw, that's all I could use. Please fit. Oh my good lord. Oh my god, it fucking works. Well, wonders. I'm going to do the rest. Oh my days. I did it. I am actually well impressed with that. Now you might be wondering why the gaps are so big between each shelf. I could easily put in another like 3 or 4, and I have extra ones there. But the reason for the gaps being so big is because in the interim, for the time being, this is so Jess can put her clothes on it instead of here. The beauty of making this myself is that I can actually just add shelves whenever I want. I just drill a couple of holes, add in the shelf supports, and I could just slot a shelf straight in there, and I could do it as many times or as little as I like. It's really convenient. Obviously on our Ikea furniture there's holes that go all the way up, and then you can just determine where you want your shelves, but I didn't want loads of holes now. Like in the future I can add more if I want to, and like I said before, but for the time being that works perfectly. Now, there are a few mistakes with this that I would like to point out. The first one is actually the way I've put my bottom and top board on. Because I've done it this way, you can actually see the end grain here. Now, if I'd gone inside, like I have with the shelf, you wouldn't see it, and it'd be like a seamless finish all the way down. The reason you can see this is going to need to add a trim that goes under here. And that'll hide this prop, but I'll do that later. And I've done the same at the top, obviously, with the end grain. The other side of things is you can obviously see these panels, or cleats, or back supports, whatever they're called. You can see them. I'm not a huge fan of that, and I'm not a huge fan that you can see the pocket holes either. You can actually get like dowels. I can't remember what they're actually called, but you get pieces of wood that go in there, and it hides it, and it gives it a smooth, clean finish. I just don't have any. So for now, you can see them. But all things considered, this gives me great confidence to build just like a wardrobe. What I just need to do is figure out how to hide this end grain. I think you can get like, I don't know if it's called a veneer, but you basically get this iron on thing. You iron it on, cut it, trim it to size, and it's like a seamless wooden finish. Then it would look, ooh. Nevertheless, colour me, I am happy and proud of myself that I've managed to do that. Every single vlog, I take one step closer to learning something new, expanding my knowledge, and getting better at doing this. Eventually, I want to be able to make like really nice cabinetry and furniture and stuff like that I could potentially sell. But overall, this cost me, I don't know, like £75. If you think about it, like these supports cost £2.50. The sheet of wood cost me 70 quid because I got obviously 2 different types. And then, yeah, that's it. I am well happy with that. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up red. I really do appreciate it. What do I learn next? I think when I build another one of these right there, I'm going to make obviously a wardrobe with like hangers, and then I want doors with like mirrors on them. Truly stepping up my level. But the whole point of this house, and I know people keep going on about it, like, oh, why are you wasting your money doing this house up and all this other stuff? And it's not a waste of money. It's a place for me to learn. It's a place for me to share what I learn with you guys, as well as give us nice things in the time being. So I can fine-tune the things in this house because I know it doesn't matter if I make a mistake or not. It's not like my house forever. So it's good to learn these things whilst I'm here. I hope you appreciate that. It takes a lot of effort to do this kind of stuff. So, and it can be quite expensive, but I think I found a nice balance of it all. Anyways, guys, I am going to wrap up today's video. A massive shout out to all the members, Patreon supporters, people supporting the merch and picking up theirs. If you want to get yours, links in the description below. If you want to join the Patreon, little QR code here. I don't know. I'm sorry I keep self-promoting. I shouldn't really apologise because it's like the clothing is really good. I genuinely believe in it and I can't wait to make more stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you're new around here, hit subscribe. As always, it's been Orion. Join me next time when we finish this off. This is the part where I say peace, peace, much love. Bye-bye. Then I might use LEDs.
There we go.
After I have actually built the fit. After I actually built the fitting. I think they've cracked the code on the locks of their gates and they've got out of these gaps are so big is because the reason